So, when I did that video where we were talking about localization and how it's terrible, it can be good at certain points, but then when you have people with certain agendas that are trying to push things and trying to get you to accept things, then it's terrible. And then it's indicative of a larger problem that needs to be addressed, which is why I am totally all for machine translations and things like that, or more natural translations, or even just throwing out the translation, whatever, and letting me use my common sense and reason in order to understand what the meaning is behind that. So, Ghostwire Tokyo English translation predictably contains propaganda. And this is exactly what I'm talking about in that situation. People got mad because River City Girls Zero has a original translation. They're mad because they think that we have to accept the things that they are pushing upon us. We don't have to accept anything. It's like with the Halo TV show. When people are talking about the Halo TV show and they're like, oh, but we don't want a one-to-one translation of this thing. It's impossible. Well, you haven't provided me proof of that, first of all. If you did a 1-1 translation of the Halo show and it turned out to be good, would you still watch it? As opposed to what we got. So that's one issue that I tend to have when people talk about this. You don't want a 1-1 translation. You haven't given us anything to prove that, though. What do you want, a 1-1 translation? Throw one out there and then let's see how that goes. Let's gauge it off of that. Right now, you're only giving me like the great value version of the thing that I like, or you're giving me the we got McDonald's at home version. But I'm getting off topic. This particular problem is exactly why I think original translations without any localization bullshit in it is probably the best way to go. I think machine translations are probably going to be the ultimate way to go, where you just release the thing and we don't hire people that are expat ideologue bullshit artists trying to get up in our shit to fuck with our stuff. Because it's not, when you do things like this, you are basically just creating a situation where it's like, nah, I don't want this. And if enough people do that, which is what I hope would happen, yeah, you really start to notice you done fucked up, as Angry Joe would say. Just to tie that up. As it's becoming common of almost every video game developer in the West, the recently launched Ghostwire Tokyo was found to have an English translation that randomly inserts propaganda as opposed to accurately translating the original Japanese. The line in question being, "Oh, property is theft, kid." Which is funny because I've kept up on the situation. The "all property is theft" statement is hilarious because the person saying that, if I'm remembering this correctly, isn't the character the ghost of a police officer? So even in saying that, like, ooh, you got some real issues that you need to settle in your previous life. A vigilant Twitter user constantly evaluating the translations of English releases provided a screenshot comparing the Chinese, Japanese, and English versions of one specific cutscene, which all have different translations. Now, the Chinese translation is "the world belongs to the people," which that's propaganda. That definitely sounds like propaganda. The Western translation is "all property is theft," and that's communistic, if anything. Some little fruit bag decided that they were going to basically try to put their little communist bullshit in popular Asian. And just like communists, you basically take things that don't belong to you and then try to proclaim that this is some grand thing or whatever. But the moment I step up in your house and take your shit, now we're calling the police. Excuse me, this Negro's stealing my television. All property's theft, motherfucker. So the Japanese version is "who knows, really." You're taking control of my arm. Who knows, really? Fucking people. Video with audio is also presented, bound to have many wondering how the translators thought they could get away with turning Sado Daruna into all property is theft kid, a reference to a remark made by a French socialist, Pierre Joseph Proudhon. Here's the problem. This is an interesting problem. In order to get your fucking bullshit ideology across, or trying to get your bullshit ideology over, you have to sneak it into things. If you were so great, if this ideology is so fucking amazing, you would imagine that more people would be interested in it, and that it would spread, kind of like how evangelists spread Christianity throughout the world. But nobody's trying to hear that shit. People like making money. Capitalism is probably one of the greatest things that's ever happened to Western civilization. So you're going to turn around and try to sneak this shit into stuff, not thinking that there's a lot of Japanese speaking people. There's a lot of people on the internet that will catch this shit and actually expose it before it even like gets out the gate. It's astounding. It astounds me that people are so fucking retarded. Oh, Jesus. Greater context was provided by a random individual, a rando. The full context is the MC talking to the voice in his head after chasing some ghosts. The voice tells MC-kun that they need to unlock some shrines because the game's versions of Ubisoft Towers exist, and the shrines contain useful stuff sometimes. He also tells the main character that the bow he got from the voice's apartment was found in a shrine, to which the main character says, "Found? You mean stolen?" It's even weirder since the voice was originally a police officer. So I'm right. I'm right in my statement. All property is theft, kid. In the original line, KK, the ghost detective ex-cop man, flippantly blowing off the concerns of the protagonist, Akiro, that he stole a useful object. Now, themes of obsession with property equals bad is fitting with the tone of the game, but some translator took the opportunity to push it harder and drop the property as theft line, achieving the same end but changing the intent. KK as a character is a gruff-driven, obsessed man, and all out of sorts with the modern world, but not a communist ideologue. It's again, I have to shove my ideology into this because that's how we own the capitalists. He says, as you put this in a game that's being sold for fucking money, you fucking dumbass prick. It's funny how these fake little champagne socialists, there is what you call them. These fake little champagne socialists will sit there and make all these statements about the bourgeoisie and all this other stuff. But then they'll turn around and they'll say it on their iPhones. They'll basically like post it on Twitter. They'll sit in the Starbucks and whine about we were in the late stage capitalism. Okay, fine. Go to a country that supports the shit. You won't. And you won't because you like the luxuries of here. So stop being a fucking bitch and actually get with the program. That's not what I was saying in my head. What I was saying in my head was cigarette, but society frowns on those statements. This propaganda shouldn't prove too surprising, as localizers have been forcibly changing dialogue of anime and Japanese games for years now, often inserting political bias, such as with Neo, The World Ends With You, and his use of the phrase cultural appropriation. 13 Sentinels, Aegis Rim, rewriting of a character to turn them non-binary, another word that, like, listen, if you want to basically consider yourself to be non-binary, fine. Don't expect me to follow along with you on this route into whatever. And going back off of a previous statement I said, especially with Testament, if you feel as if me, myself, capitulating to you and your identity is some form of compassion, brother, you got another thing coming. You can be whatever the fuck you want, but it's only you that's going to agree to that. I don't have to agree to any of this shit. If I want to be nice and tell somebody or call somebody like a female that's trans or like any of that stuff, I'll do it out of my own common courtesy. But that's only if I feel that that person has earned the respect to do that. Because respect is something that needs to be earned. I'm tired of hearing people whine about how Testament shows you who they are. Like, nigga, I don't care who they are. Testament was a boy when he started, and he was forcibly under surgery converted into what Testament is now. So it's funny that multiple situations have occurred. There's multiple instances of characters that have been altered by persons not themselves and are now welcomed into this gender binary spectrum. Whatever. You have Grin from Cowboy Bebop that was experimented on by given various drugs by the military industrial complex of Mars, and grew breasts and had to live with that shit. You have Testament, who was experimented on by the Conclave, and thus now has this, with the new gear body, has like a dual sexual identity. Or basically is, as we like to call it back in the day, androgyny. And the reason why Testament is androgynous is because most of the rock stars are androgynous. I would love for people to go back, well, people will go back in time and call David Bowie, Prince, and like other artists like non-binary because they think it's the in thing. But androgynous was the thing. Androgyny was a huge thing back in the 70s and 80s. And androgyny is a popular thing in Japan still, but apparently we have to, like I said, we have to change things to current things in order for people to feel good about themselves. But I could give a good goddamn about that. So anyways, in Super Robot Wars 30, forcibly including pronoun talk. Similarly, Funimation is infamous for how they insulted otaku in Hajimete no Gao, forcibly inserted the word misogynist in Yuno, and mentioned Gamergate and prison school. Comments from others on Twitter to this response are as the following. No, you need to understand that this statement can be just directly translated, my dude, just like how this statement actually translates to "You're so heckin' right, comrade." Wow, this is just obnoxiously changing dialogue to propagate political agenda. Did the same people who butchered 20 Neo work on this? What the fuck does property as theft even mean? This has become hilarious, assuming the West localization is made by that side. Karl Marx, though initially favorable to Proudhon's work, later criticized that, among things, the expression property as theft is self-refuting and unnecessarily confusing, writing that theft is a forcible violation of property presupposes the existence of property, and condemning Proudhon for entangling himself in all sorts of fantasies obscure to even himself about true bourgeoisie property. And this is coming from a man that basically spent most of his life getting mad because his mommy wouldn't give him money. Thomas Sowell did a really good write-up of Karl Marx, because apparently Thomas Sowell was a huge Marxist back in the day, and before he realized that the government is completely inept and incapable of doing anything that the Marxists actually want in their end goals. Thomas Sowell basically like wrote this whole thing about Marx as a person, and just his bio and his life issues, whatever. And you find that Marx was just basically common day rich kid that was mad because his parents cut him off, and he spent most of his life like just fuming over that while conning other people out of their money and mooching off of like his friends and loved ones. So I mean that it makes perfect sense if you think about it, how a lot of tankies basically come in and they identify with this because it reflects a lot of their fucking bullshit life. I know I got a lot of shit about that when I was talking about Disco Elysium, but in all honesty, it just, seriously, It's pathetic. It's really fucking pathetic if you think about it. The joy of knowing Japanese. Do you know that there's a subtitles mod? I think there's a solution to an issue that shouldn't have been there in the first place. I can't tell you if this is a meme or real, and that's a problem. It's real. I just played that part last night and was confused about the line because it felt so out of place. It's always morally correct to disrespect localizers. I didn't want to be that guy, but I'm starting to be that guy. This is a serious problem. Ideologies in a nutshell. Guess this means the English localization team's okay with everyone pirating the game then. I mean, that's pretty much it. If property is theft, then you are basically making it okay for us to completely disregard the actual business and the person that created the game and just take his shit. That's what you're saying. You're saying, like, basically, fuck you. You don't deserve any money for your services. We're just gonna fucking take what we want and just leave the rest. Just like your salad bar. That's a Big Trouble in Little China reference. And it was actually suitable for that. Man, I wish there was a mod with the correct translation. I know there won't be, but still. So that's why game journals like it. Right, I wonder why they're parading this one around. If you say shit like all property is theft, I'm fucking stealing something out of your house. Hey. Ah, yes, the most important part of any action adventure game. Force communist propaganda. I'm honestly not even that upset over it. It's more a sad, funny thing than anything else. I've just got this friend who imagines saying that sentence in a really funny voice that he does. I wish he was on Twitter. Property is theft, kid. I thought that line seemed off. Me when I steal Ghostwire Tokyo since property is bad. No shit. Well, I mean, like in the... I don't want to get too political. 2 drinks later. I don't want to get too far into this shit. But like the libertarian idea of property is like you yourself and your body is property. So does that mean that somebody can just basically violate you and walk away scot-free because property is theft? I mean, let's really break that shit down and think about it for a second. You guys are really into some stupid shit. You guys really want to open your mouth and basically you want to look smart, but you don't understand the implications of the things that you're saying. And then you sit there and parade it around on social media like you're the greatest fucking things ever. That's what I keep saying this shit. You motherfuckers think you're so clever, but you're not. You're not. Oh my God. I need to see this whole scene before I render judgment. On the surface, it's bad though. What the fuck, is this true? So play it in Japanese? It is. There's still salvation, or what the Latino American version says. There is no hope. Jesus. Accurate. Somewhat accurate. Bruh. I'm the pirate. Can't be helped. God, I hope this is a joke. Seems the Chinese translation is using the English one as a base. The quote is the world belongs to the people. It's from the Chinese utopia thinking, which includes everything belongs to everyone. Yeah, which until somebody takes something that's not yours, like say your prized possessions, your vehicles, or your family members or whatever, then it's a problem. Then it's a fucking problem. It's like it doesn't. It's all good until somebody actually takes it literally and does the thing, and then when they do the thing, you're just like, well, why did you do the thing? Well, because you believed in the thing enough for me to want to do the thing. All translation and localization companies need to be brought under legal scrutiny due to their ability to negatively affect the probability of another company's product. That is true. I kind of do believe in that. If you are willfully working against the aspirations of a company to make money, especially if there's a company that really wants to put out a product and really believes in their product, and you have this one cigarette that's sitting in here retranslating shit in order to push their thing, but it negatively affects that product, they should be not only fired from their position, they should have the ever-loving shit sued out of them. That's what I believe. Sue the ever-loving shit out of them and have them work it off by basically like shining shoes in the fucking bathroom, like a fucking one of those guys that does that shit. I don't fucking remember. I think they are, but it's never enforced. You need to start enforcing that shit. I'm sorry. Like, lessons need to be learned. People need to be, like, held accountable for their fucking actions. And this is the type of shit that really pisses me off. There's more to this, but I don't know if I want to, like, sit here and read all of that. But, it's just, and now at this stage of the game, I really feel like people won't learn their fucking lessons until you absolutely punish them to the full extent of that punishment. Which means if I design a game, I bust my ass, I create the sprites, I create the storyline, all this other stuff, and some asshole just basically fucks it all up with some fucking bullshit while they're basically getting paid to do a job, and they're not even doing their fucking job. They need to get fucking dealt with. Like, seriously, I would fire them and I would proceed to sue them. But I feel like that's sabotage. Or you could probably go so far as to say industrial espionage, because it's a Westerner. It's probably some fat glasses wearing stank ass, like, dyed haired Westerner sitting around whining about like property and stamp can, while like living in their fucking parents' basement. And then they'll sit there in the little Discord groups with their other buddies, and they'll sit there and like, they'll pat themselves on the back. It's like, what a good little communist I am. You deserve to get slapped, and you deserve to get fired, and then you deserve to get the shit suit out of you. And you need to pay that shit back. I don't care how you pay it back, but you need to pay it back, because you took somebody else's property. If you feel his property is theft, then we need to take your livelihood from you. Livelihood's your theft, kid. How did you kill interest in a game solely off of being just an unlikable asshole? Jesus Christ. Anyways, I'm out of here. Thank you for joining me for this, and I'll see you next boss fight. Good God. Oh.